Hi, everyone, and welcome to the show. If you know me, then you know that I love wearing very comfy, cozy clothes. And today's guest is perfect because when you hear what she does, you're going to say, why didn't I think of that? So, welcome, Dr. Neela. Tell us a little bit more about JAANUU and who you are and why everyone should know about the brand.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Yes, I'm Dr. Neela. I'm a pediatrician. I am a mom of two, and I'm founder of JAANUU. And it's short and based on the Hindi word John, which means life. And our mom used to call us her little Johnnus because we were her life. And so that's where it kind of came from. And I started a medical apparel business over a decade ago in an attempt to empower just females at the time with form-fitting, fashion-forward, performance-based scrubs that had just really never existed in the past. And it was kind of a shout out to my obsession with Sex and the City, my obsession with Carrie Bradshaw. It was the 90s, and I just thought, like, let's just dream big, everybody.
That's amazing. And so, can I just ask a personal question? So,
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about the fashion side of it. Like it's all different colors and do you see like regular people like me buying them asking for a friend, not me?
Yeah, totally. No, I'm getting you in a pair of scrubs because you're comfy. So just watch out, audience. She's going to be rocking scrubs in no time. So yeah, I think that we really embrace the sort of cross section of function and fit and fashion, and I think that's what really makes us different. And so yeah, I mean, this is a signature, one of our sort of basic tops for summer. So if you can imagine, obviously pink, bright, not see-through, moves with the body. And then we have tons of different styles as well. So things like a peplum or a kind of a higher neck or a mandarin collar, oversized, more fitted, wrap top. So we are runway inspired and we change with the seasons. And so you could see in our lookbooks that like we have a fall lookbook and a spring lookbook. And so we sort of change and evolve and grow just as the fashion industry, does that as well.
That is like, it's so fascinating. When you look, and obviously it starts with the people who actually practice, not people who work in influencer marketing necessarily. And
Right?
so when you look at that, how do you come up with messaging and not just kind of the line of product, but how do you come up with like, do we go after nurses? There's different types of nurses like, how do you even wrap your head around who you're going to be messaging to, nurses, physicians, dental hygienists, like how do you start?
It's a good question. I think what we really have prided ourselves on is being able to sort of fit a larger audience and that, we take into account different types of jobs. And many different people that are wearing our scrubs from healthcare professionals to non-healthcare professionals. And we also take into account obviously gender, we take into account body size and type and shape, and we go from the most basics, which is just like what you see today, which is just going to be like a basic V, which obviously speaks to a very large audience, all the way to kind of seasonal, not only colors but styles that people would want to change over time. I think what we try to do is be as inclusive as possible, and that's something that's been really important to me since the beginning, given that I am a child of two immigrant parents that came here from India.
Yeah.
Yay! Um, and I didn't always feel that I was included. I didn't always feel that I blended. And I really wanted to make sure that my brand not only stood for inclusivity, but it also spoke to just ages, genders, and like we talked about body types, and that everyone felt welcome. And we really pride ourselves on that and community.
How do you reach people at a certain stage in person?
I think that we really try to find authentic souls. And I think that what we're going for is people that really know the brand and love the brand. We're a family business at our core. This business was started in my kitchen and, with little to no money. And it really was, I keep joking that it's my small dream turned big. And so we really try to find both influencers and non-influencers and really pride ourselves on micro influencers as well to sort of say, we believe in you. And yes, you may not have the following count that we're looking for, but you have the spirit and the essence of what we're looking for. So we talk about passion. We talk about you being in healthcare and it being your passion. We talk about being patient-led. We talk about having the idea that you want to be part of a community and something bigger. and that you're not just in it for the clicks and the likes and the money. And I think that's a very hard thing for any founder out there to try and piece out, because you're going to run into people that are in it for the wrong reason, and you're going to get people that are like, how much are you going to pay me? And this is what I charge, and I won't even have a conversation with you until you tell me how much you're going to pay. And that's always sort of rubbed me the wrong way. And while I understand that it's a business, I also want to make sure that we're pulling people in that are like, hey, tell us more about your brand. Tell us how you got started. Tell us about your parents. Tell us about your why. And as soon as we sort of hit that influencer or that healthcare professional, we're like, okay, we want to meet you. We want to be in talks. I think also just thinking big when it comes to community, not just online, but in person as well. We love to host events. And I think that's a big thing of just creating that environment where all the ambassadors get to come together and they're like, okay, I feel part of something. It's not just fake, it's real. Because let's just be honest, people, a lot of what you're seeing online and on social media is not real. And what I'm here to say is, there are actually companies out there that still have founders that are involved. There are companies out there that still have founders that are wearing the scrubs. I'm still in private practice. I'm still seeing patients all day, every day. And this is my bread and butter. So it makes it that much more real, I think.
Can you tell us a little bit? I know you did something with the Nurses Association and another. Tell us that because I think that's, you don't have to do Coachella. Like there's other really special, more meaningful ways to get involved with your community.
I think there's like the vision board items that go big to small. And I see a lot of sort of early founders and a lot of micro influencers are like, if I don't have this, then it doesn't matter. And that's actually not true. Some of our smaller events, I think, have touched more lives than a lot of the bigger events. I find personally, while of course I have vision boards of giant events where I can give talks to large audiences and make people feel seen and heard, I really love being able to go to events where I can actually have one-on-one conversations with people where we can touch on things like healthcare burnout or fear or negative self-talk or mental health struggles in the healthcare community that often goes unnoticed. And so things like the Nurses Week events that we do, or even just taking a truck and sitting outside a hospital and providing food for people makes such a big difference. I remember back in the day, I would go to hospitals and we would just have tiny lunches, and we would just invite the nurses to come and try our scrubs because we are primarily based online. And I feel like I heard the best stories then, and I was really able to connect to people then. And I think that made a huge part of our early audience. And having an early audience is very important too. It's having that loyalty and that authenticity earlier, because I will tell you, those are the people that are going to carry you. The messages I get now after a decade of doing this is, I remember phase one. I remember Dr. Neela when her kids were babies. I remember when she, wasn't, didn't look like this, or, didn't have the stage presence. And look at us, look how far we've come. And there's some loyalty in that, and it builds that community. And again, not to repeat myself, but it really is about community. That's what's going to keep people coming back, is that they believe in you.
When you talk about like the early days till now, what's like something that, there's so many people listening, whether it's a creator or a brand. We have bigger brands, smaller brands, founder stories. What's something advice that you would say? Like, how do you grow? Like, how do you just, I know for me, like there were many weeks and months where I would just, I'm taking a nap. Like no one's responding. I'm just gonna take a nap. That was it. But what, like the reality, what keeps you going?
I think it's really the not giving up. And as cheesy as it sounds, it's the not giving up. And I think that when you're passion driven and it's what you love, I think that you just have a really good shot at succeeding. I think when you're doing it because your mom wanted you to, or you're doing it because that's what your trauma, from your childhood's telling you need to be, or, had a negative experience in high school and you're trying to prove to that high school bully that, you can
You're
make,
cool.
yeah, that you're cool, or that like you matter, instead of really digging deep and, doing what we call shadow work to look within and be like, what drives me? And what really is the reason why I'm doing this? And I will tell you, I think a lot of the reason why we've been successful after all these years is we really care about our healthcare professionals and all the people wearing our scrubs, but the majority are HCPs, and we really and truly care for them. I'll be honest and say we didn't really go viral until COVID. And I think that we were a small business before then, and we're still a small business now, but that's really what put us on the map to be like, wait, who's this company? Wait, oh wait, they have antimicrobial scrubs. Wait, this is a doctor-backed company. Wait, hold on. They actually are talking about COVID. They're talking about death. They're talking about healthcare professionals providing care at people's last breath through an iPad with their families. They're talking about my own mental health struggles that I've dealt with in the past, my negative self-talk, my bullying that I dealt with when I was in high school and junior high. And I think that that's a huge part of just being authentic. So passion driven, consistency is key, really doing the shadow work to figure out what your obstacles are in terms of yourself and surrounding yourself by good people. That's, I think, a huge part of it. And that's not always been the truth for me, to be completely honest. I've not always had the army of people. It's, certainly was a work in progress and really possibly is still a work in progress. But I pride myself when I look right and look left that I have people that are truly cheering me on and want to see me succeed, and that's a huge part of it. Look around because if you roll in the mud, what's the saying? Like I always get it wrong, but like if you're rolling in the mud, you're likely to be with pigs or something, right? Like
Right.
you've got to
Right.
figure it out because
The company you keep, like my parents always taught me, you're going to be judged by the people you're with. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So if you're around negative people that are haters or that are like, you're never going to make it, or like, that's a dumb idea, or they're, failing at their business and they're bringing you down, guess what? You're going to believe the same thing. But if you're around a bunch of founders that are inspiring and yeah, maybe they have 2,000 followers, but they're like, I love this and I have one more follower today and there's gratitude in that and I love my product, you're going to feel inspired to do better. You just are.
Yeah. And it's a blessing, like we said before we even started. Like I wake up every day and this has not been easy, but I love what I do. And I just do. I'm blessed. Like I love my team. I love what I do. And I think that that's like really a gift. When we talk about everything, obviously you talk about what happened with COVID, and since COVID, everything on social is moving so fast. Like, look, what do you like? Are you on TikTok shop? Like, what are you seeing? Because everything has changed so fast that like it's all like the founder stories. Do you have to start documenting everything that you do all day long? What do you think works? What do you think people should think about?
I think that you have to really dig deep and figure out what is authentic to you. And again, I think could I have built a bigger follower count? Absolutely. Was I willing to document every moment of my life? No. And was that a self-sacrifice? Yes. When we really sort of went viral, I got the information or the advice that was like, go live all the time, like school drop off, school pickup, what are you making for dinner? And honestly, it really wasn't authentic to me. I had a preteen daughter that I'm telling her this messaging about all the negative effects of social media. It felt very unauthentic to do that. I felt very protective of my children and my family. I've been married to my husband for 20 years. My private life, I really wanted to stay private, and I knew that I was going to be sacrificing some of my popularity because of that, but I stuck to it. And I think that that is actually what makes me more successful today, is that I don't just put it out there. I don't just, I'm not willing to share every little bit of my life. And for example, like my mother passed in the fall, and it was, a really horrible, traumatic moment for my family. And I could have used that. I could have gone on there and I didn't. And, I did the post for her and I continue to give her, make her part of my storyline, but it's not an everyday thing. And I didn't open the cameras to private family moments. And I'm proud of that. And so I think that the more that you can, again, and I know I'm repeating myself, but there's so much importance in doing that inner work and figuring out who you are and what you stand for and sticking to that. And if you don't do that work, you're just, one, you're going to be viewed as inauthentic. And I will tell you, there are enough trolls online that even as authentic as I am, I even get hate and it hurts. But people are going to read you so well. So you're only going to be able to fight that off if when you go to sleep at night, you're like, I'm a good person. Yes, I've made mistakes. Yes, I've had trial and error. I've not always operated 100%, but I go to bed at night knowing that love is the answer, that medicine is one of the last professions that's completely altruistic, and that I'm a good mom and I'm a good wife and a good sister and daughter. And that's really all that matters more than me having my private life be, everywhere on social media.
I actually thank you for sharing that. I actually just had this conversation yesterday and I said, and we could get into the founder story stuff, but I said, like, I know when I go to sleep, like, what matters is like being kind, being good, knowing you did your best, you were a good mom, good daughter, like, that's it. And so, I think the tribute to the name of the brand to your mom is just so beautiful.
And I will tell you, like, for all those founders out there, I can't even tell you how many times people wanted us to change our name. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people said there's too many vowels, there's too many letters. It's not relatable. People are saying JAANUU instead of JAANUU. And one of the things that I really have pushed for all these years is to keep the name because it represents who we are. And there's just so much to it. It's not just the storyline of my mother. It's an immigrant storyline. It's a cultural storyline. It's tribal in a way of where we came from. And I think in today's society, and I tell my daughter this all the time, we're so quick to just be like, on trend, off trend. Nobody's wearing jorts. Yes, we're wearing jorts. So we're wearing skinny jeans. We're not wearing skinny jeans. We're out. Like, and we're so quick to be like, this is the only way to be, or you're canceled. This is the only way to wear it, or you're cringy. And even the words we use, it's like, oh, you can't say that. You can't say this. You can't do that. You're gonna get, and I want to sort of pride myself and have my company be like, you know what? You want skinny scrubs? We got those. You want joggers? We got those. You like hiking your joggers and wearing bulky socks? Great. You want no shows? We got something for you. Like you,
Keeping the name.
but we're keeping the name. But we're keeping the name.
I think it's a great lesson to your daughters too. The parent company of my company, which I don't tell anyone because it has different involvements in different things, but is my grandmother's name. So it's Esther L. So
Mm.
L is female empowerment, and her name was Esther, but then it happens to be where my parents lived. Esther L is a town. And
Oh,
so it was all three things coming together. Yeah.
beautiful.
I
And you,
think, yeah. I think that, I think there's a different kind of when you come, immigrant children, like there's just, we kind of relate, I think.
I do
So
too. I do too. It's sort of a, it's sort of a club. And I've even found that with with the losing a parent club. And, there's a way for us to be able to bond with one another and make each other feel seen and heard versus be divisive and be like, I'm better or I'm worse or whatever. More love, more acceptance, more you can sit with us. That's what I keep telling my daughter this whole year's mantra is you can sit with us. I don't care who you are, you can sit with us. No more of you're not included, no more smear campaigns, no more like, toxic energy. It's like you can sit with us, you are accepted for who you are. Welcome to the table. Tell us your story.
yeah, and I think, the flip side is when you do expose and you become that big mega, you do one thing and it's all over. And it's all, and when I mean all over, it's all over social and everyone is trying to cancel you. I am so sensitive. I don't know, like what you're saying. I don't know if I could ever handle that.
People are really quick to judge and they're quick to think that they know your storyline and they're quick to believe negative things over positive and it shocks me. It's like, okay, you've seen me on social media all this time. You've seen how I've grown and changed. You've seen that I'm in private practice. You see, and it's like storylines get twisted or whatever it may be. And it's like once you finally step away from that, and it's like kind of the courage to be disliked and the courage to be misunderstood, I think that you get very empowered and you get to that place of like, my people are my people who love me, love me. And if you don't, that's okay. I'm still going to lead with love. But if you're going to believe something negative about me and never even research it or talk to me about it or whatever it may be, that just shows your character where you're at and the level of work that you've done and more power to you. Great, but like don't need that in my universe and my stratosphere. I'm going to protect my peace and my family more than anything else.
Protect your peace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we all have to do that.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. This has been such a meaningful conversation, and I don't normally say that, so it's been truly meaningful. And how could everyone find you personally and the brand, and how could, anything you want to share with the community?
I think so my personal Instagram is at Dr. Neela and it's spelled out DOCTOR and like Nancy EELA. That's my like personal journey and some of my founding journey and some of my personal journey and my private practice journey. And then the name of my company's JAANUU, JAANUU, and you can find that online at JAANUU. Those are the ways to find us. I think parting words is you do you. You do you. And and it's not easy but just stay consistent and stay authentic. And it seems so simple, but in this day and age, it's so easy to get caught up in the noise and the drama and where things are headed instead of just saying, you know what? I'm going to drown that out. And yes, things are changing, or I can follow this, pathway, or I can listen to this one influencer what worked for her, but I'm going to do what works for me. And I'm going to wake up every day and know that I've been authentic to me, and it's just bound to be successful. It's just bound to.
Amen.
Amen. Or as my son used to say, Amen.
So nice having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.